Oh, okay. I hope you're ready because we're on the show. And where Phil's gone. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, I've never done it on the phone before. Okay.
I'm back.
Well, we're live.
How are we?
Yeah, apparently.
Apparently so, eh?
Hang on, I gotta get back to Zoom. Where's Zoom? Oh, I
Every
don't
week,
usually...
apparently we're live.
Well, I'm Phil.
And I'm Phil.
And yeah, here we are.
Having another fabulous
week.
another fabulous episode of the Phil and Phil Show.
Yeah, and I'm doing it from a phone here, which is better quality camera than my computer, but I need to change the gallery mode. Can you do that? Oh no, I need to do it from this end. Shoot. Okay.
Yeah, I'm afraid you do, bro.
Aye. I'll just let you do all the talking, and I.
Okay, I'm just going to send a couple of emails, Phil. Now we're up.
Okay.
That'll do. I'll tell you what I haven't done. No, I haven't got the link for us.
Just send them philandphil.com/Zoom.
Oh, I'm just sending. I'm just shoving the link on here, Phil.
All right. I like that blue shirt on you. It's nice.
Hey, thank you very much. Yeah,
you look good, Phil.
Bit of bro love there. I like that.
Yeah, need that.
I like your chic t-shirt, Phil. I like the colour.
That's why I went to the Giving Tree last night. So.
Oh, that's where you had your birthday.
Yeah, and the owner. So I think I told you before. The owner he used to be the co-owner of Chocolate Tree, which is this amazing restaurant in Sedona.
Oh wow, no, I didn't know that.
So he was co-owner with his daughter. So then he sold it to his daughter, and he moved to Phoenix, and he set up this place called the Giving Tree Cafe. Which is vegan, organic, gluten-free place. And then for my birthday, I wrote to him. I was like, "Hey, David," because I connect with him. He loves me, and we love Susan, and we go there quite a bit. And I said, "Can you make me a vegan cheesecake?" And he just said, "Yeah, and I'll give it as a gift." So he made us that beautiful cheesecake as a gift. So pretty incredible, right?
That's really cool.
Blueberry cheesecake is my favorite raw food dessert of all time. So I'll take that any day. So
is it now?
Yeah.
We'll have to challenge that when you come over here.
Well, do you have a better one?
No, just a friend of mine got me into I was doing watermelon and a bit of either a squeeze of lime or watermelon and ginger. And she said, "Phil, have you done watermelon, lime and mint?" And I was like, "No." So I did it. Man, would that make a good cheesecake? Not the watermelon, but the lime and mint cheesecake.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, just overall, like raw vegan cheesecakes are my tops. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Cheesecakes.
Yeah.
Mind you, chocolate torts are pretty good.
Yeah. Well, see, I love chocolate, but cheesecake still wins. So.
Oh wow. What about a raw banoffee?
They're okay. They're pretty good.
Cheesecake wins. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but if you were just going full on raw food, then it would have to be a really good quality durian. So that would. So, but in terms of like prepared stuff, the raw vegan cheesecake is the tops there. So for me.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah.
So what did he
Michelle makes an amazing tiramisu though. So.
Oh, does she now? She might have to share us that recipe one day, Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah, talking about that, I've seen quite a nice premises actually, Phil.
Oh, interesting.
Not to live in, to do a cafe and treatment rooms.
Ah.
It's got it's an old shop, and it's got a nice frontage. Out the front, there's enough room for tables and chairs. Out the back, there's a little courtyard. I might go. I might actually go and look at it. I mean, it's a crazy time to take on a premise, is it right?
Well, yes and no, because sometimes in the times of craziness where businesses are dropping out, the innovators that come in, like there's an open market for it. And if you can sustain it and be like a pioneer in this time, it's actually a great opportunity if you can do it. And if
Yeah.
you have a very open freedom kind of space, you're going to have some really cool clientele. So
Yeah, absolutely. Because in our local town, we've got I'm not going to mention their names. We've got a little vegan cafe, which is great. But I'm surprised where they're at. Let's just put it. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
surprised where the location or where their consciousness is at.
Yes. where the consciousness is at.
It's interesting we have that here. So the Giving Tree Cafe, the owner is full on, like, so conscious, like that's why we go there. And then there's a local one near me where I used to go a lot, but they've been really like full on about, like, you know, wearing the masks, like away, not if you're not at the table. And we just don't go there. It's like whatever. They've been really strict. Whereas this Giving Tree Cafe never mandated anything. Really relaxed environment, very clean, organic, strictly organic, just like very conscious. But like this other place, for some reason, they really went into this whole other like fear mode or whatever it was.
Yes,
I don't know if it's fear. It's either it's a mixture of fear or like not wanting to offend. Like I think there's that mix that people play where they don't want to offend somebody, so they go, okay, well, we're going to follow the rules so we don't get shut down. Like kind
bottom
of thing.
line is though, still fear.
Yeah, both
Still
are fear, right? It's fear of losing customers.
Yeah.
Whereas Chocolatry in Sedona, the owner there, she's just like, I don't care if I go out of business. I'm not going to force masks on my employees, and I'm not going to enforce it on my customers. Like she's just like, I'd rather go out of business than take that stance. And she lost some people, but she also gained a huge following.
Yeah. So, yeah. You know, the thing with masks with your workforce is they lose performance. You know, right. I know myself on certain jobs where I have to wear a mask. You know, because I do construction work, right? So sometimes I have to wear a mask. Man, do I lose performance? Do I get tired, exhausted? I overheat. I can't think properly. And then people tell me that masks don't affect you. It's like, have you ever done a physical job with a mask on? You know, it's like all these people that are telling me, oh, masks don't make any difference. Have you ever done a day's work with a mask on? And the answer is probably no.
Right. I bet if you ask some people who are like, you know, some of the store people who have had to wear masks all day, and ask them how they feel. And I have spoken to those store people, and they're just like, we hate this. Like you know, you can't breathe properly. Like it gets moist. Like they don't like it, and they will say that. But to somebody just going into the shop and it's like 5 minutes. Oh, it's only 5 minutes. But it's like those people who have to wear it all day.
Yeah.
Like it's not good. It's not comfortable, and it's hot, and then you get stressed. Yeah. So,
you know, and I've noticed in other places I go to, they have the plastic screen up, and the guys don't have to wear a mask behind the plastic screen. As soon as they walk around the plastic screen, they have to wear a mask. It's like, wow, really? So, yeah. Anyway,
so
let's not.
So you've been going. Well, I was going to switch the subject. So you've been going to some things in the park where it's like meditation and like kind of.
No, not really. It's just called a stand in the park. It was really set up, from my understanding, for people to go to that didn't have anybody, that felt lonely, that, you know, felt abandoned, left out, couldn't do things. So it's more a supportive role to get people together, like-minded people together, and actually. The walk in the park, the stand in the parks that I've been to, I mean, it's great because I choose to go to Royal Right Stone, so I go to a sacred space. That's, you know, I went to one in our local town, and it's just near tennis courts. It's concrete, cut grass, and brick buildings, and it's like, why do I want to go there instead of Royal Right? You know, why? I'm not going there. So so I go off to a sacred site, and most of it's just people standing exchanging information.
Right.
which is cool. And then I had a guy, actually for an interesting conversation I had with a guy today, and he's got lots of views and things, and of course I just say my bit, which really challenges him. I'm not doing it to challenge him, just because of where my consciousness is and my thoughts. I just challenge their perception of, well, this is how it is. And I'm like, well, maybe. How about this? How about this? Well, what do you think of that? And they're like, oh, yeah, possibly, but don't you think? And it's like,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. It's, that's my, if I step into the 5D version of myself, it's a very different view to the 3D version of myself, which of course I spend most of my time, but I'm able to step into that like 4 or 5D perspective and go, actually, it might not be like this. It might be like this.
Right.
And anyway, he said to me and my sister, he said, I love sitting and talking to you two. He said, because, it's just a very different conversation. And then he said, I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to set up some kind of a podcast or a platform where I can interview you. He said, I'd love to interview both of you. And I said, that's great. Why don't you come on our show and interview Phil and I? And he's like, you've got a show? I said, yeah, we do the Phil and Phil show. So why don't you come as a guest on our show and then interview us as a guest? And he's like, that's a really cool idea, because without him setting up this whole thing, which is great because he's going to do that, he can get on with it right now. So I said, why don't you come on tonight? And he's like, I said, you haven't got to prepare anything. You just show up. You be as real as you can. You just share the fact that you've got no information. You don't know what questions you want to ask, but you want to do this interview. And I said, just show up and do it. And he's like, wow. And but he said, do you know what, Phil? As tempting as it is, I'm actually got a lot to do and I'm busy. I said, that's fine. Any Sunday, come on, let me know. Come on, we'll do a show and you can just show up.
It's great. I love it. I just want to just cycle back to that. You just go back to, you talking about like going from the 3D to the 5D kind of thing. I love that. And because we can all tap into that at any moment, and just and I know that myself, like, so, and because I think like the world events and the social construct wants to keep us in the 3D, like, and there's like this focus right now on like Fauci's emails, and it's like, this is all just a play. It's a distraction. These are just more games. And like right now, I think in the UK, there's more distractions. Like, oh, we can delay the reopening, and it's just more mind games to keep people in the 3D fighting distraction. But whereas if we can shift our consciousness somehow, and we feel it, we've all done it. I think everybody's been in that space, whether it's when they're a child or in nature or just being present with a loved one, or we've all been there. If we can shift more into that, none of this stuff matters, like, at all, really. It's irrelevant.
So what I was saying today was, he was talking about people being evil and inherently evil, and I said, well, I don't know that I get that. I don't know anymore that they're evil. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, imagine if you go back to before we incarnated as souls and we were all sat around the round table having a chat, and the mission comes up. The mission is you've got to sacrifice yourself to present yourself as a completely evil person in order to wake humanity up. Who loves humanity enough to do that? Who loves humanity enough to play the part of the worst nightmare for humanity ever? And this is going to be a really difficult part to play. But who out of you guys here at now is willing to do that and forsake yourself for humanity? And of course, a few people put their hand up and go, yep, okay, I love you guys enough and I'm going to go and do that. And of course, they forget that they've agreed to that. We forget that they've agreed to that. And in the 3D world, right, they're evil, horrible people in the 3D world. But when you can rise above out of the 3D and reach into your greatestness ever and go, well, if good and evil doesn't exist, if light and dark doesn't exist, and they're just vibrations, it's all just is how it is. Therefore, it's all perfect. Then it's just about how we perceive it. You know,
Right.
do we need to wake up? Do we not need to wake up? Are we asleep? Are we awake? Who knows, really? It feels like we're fast asleep, dreaming the dream of the dream. And there's so many multi levels of it all. And is that true? Who knows for sure?
Right.
Maybe this is a hologram, maybe it's a computer program. Who knows what it actually is?
Right.
But the 3D is like, oh, they're evil, they're trying to kill us, and we've got to kill them. And then it's like, oh, hang on a minute, let's just step right above that into that peacefulness, into that peaceful place of so a bit of air dragging to clear the airfield.
Yeah.
Into that peaceful place of introspection and reflection. And this is Ruby Red, Phil. So this is about clan. Maybe the opportunity that a lady said to me very beautifully the other day. How would we have found our tribe if it wasn't for this situation?
Right.
She said, they're making it easy for us to find each other. What a beautiful perspective. I mean, how's that for a 5D perspective, right?
Right. We would have just been shut away in our little realities, our little 3D things, and lost. But then it opened us up to go, oh, wait a minute, are there other people resonating? So like my birthday party last night, we didn't talk about world events. We were just having a great time. We were chatting about things, and it was just this beautiful energy of like people just vibrating. And we were vibrating at a higher level that whole time. We were there for 4 hours and it felt like half an hour. 4 hours, like in a restaurant, like, just like, and everybody's hugging each other like constantly. And we played little games, and it was just, everybody was just in beauty. It was just really beautiful. So, yeah. And we can create that anytime, anywhere, whatever's going on, we can create that.
Yeah. And that's that thing that this has given is for some of us is where's our, for me, I know it's important to find my tribe, right? To find people that I, like yourself, Phil, that I really connect with. There's not many, I can go to these places and I talk to people, but there's very few that I actually go, okay, they're my tribe. But I'd never have found those people if this situation hadn't have occurred.
Right.
So, as she said, what an amazing time.
Right.
That they aren't on that the same they that are being evil, they're giving us an opportunity to actually meet our tribe on a very deep spiritual level.
Right.
Amazing, right?
So
that's the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
The other side is, oh, they're evil, they're horrible, they're trying to kill us. And then the other side is how grateful.
Yep.
Otherwise,
Yep.
Otherwise, we'd just be bumbling along in our little lives, just getting on, nothing to fight for.
Right.
Some of us are fighting for our lives now and fighting for our families and our friends and fighting for those that don't even know we're fighting for them.
Right. It's really important to have a purpose, right? And if you're just going along going, well, I'm Phil the builder, and today I'm just gonna, put these, roofing tiles on or build this wall, and it's like, no, like I'm, building this wall for somebody to create a space for them, or like I'm supporting this person, or I'm gonna love this person. Like there's always another level to it. Like we can have the mundane of the day to day, but within that mundane, there's a purpose, and then like life turns on, it becomes more alive with that. Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, just in my job, like there's a mundane thing of manufacturing, but I've made purpose in it. It's like, well, I'm creating something that's helping people get healthier, and I know I'm holding space for all the workers there to, have a healthy environment to come into. And like, there's deeper levels to everything. So we can, in anything we're doing, and anything we do, and we can take that mundane and create purpose. And yes, this time has even more than ever helped us create more purpose, because we've kind of been doing this like since we turned on to raw food. It's kind of like our life has had more meaning, because like, oh wow. But then more and more people are getting it now because it's so blatantly obvious that something's off, and it's like, well, wait a minute, I don't like this old life, and like I want to connect more with nature and my family and friends and eat healthy and be healthy, and like, yeah, it's, a lot of people are getting it. So
You know, and I think one of the differences as well, Phil, that you were talking about the cafe that you went to and the cafe that I was talking about, is organic makes such a difference to people's consciousness.
right, yep, it's critical.
I mean, I'm not 100% organic because in England it's not easy, but I'm as
Right.
organic. I'm as organic as I can. Certain things, I've got berries at the moment. They're not organic, but they're called, they're class A, not drugs.
Mhm.
These are different drugs. And basically they're never sprayed, but what they
Mhm.
say is they can't guarantee that there's no drift from other people spraying.
Right. That's
So
cool.
yeah, so that's without it being, and even with organics, man, can they actually be that?
No, I mean, because especially the more and more mass produced ones. So we don't know. We're just always doing the best we can. If we set that intention, because it could be some clean produce from farm. So I mean, we don't care if it's organic, certified, if it's from our local farm. Who cares? I'd
Yeah,
rather it wasn't. I'd rather that person didn't have to spend money on the paperwork and they could just give me something out of their farm and their backyard. I really wouldn't. I don't want them to be part of the system.
so Phil,
So
you just triggered me there, right, in a good way. So organics, right?
yeah.
In order to produce pesticide free food and care for the environment, you have to pay a license in England, you have to pay to produce it, and everything has to be logged.
Mhm.
If you produce toxic, crappy food that poisons your environment and kills all the animals, you get subsidized and paid to do it, and nothing has to be registered.
In the 50s, everything was organic.
Yeah.
Did I lose you there? Sorry, my sound went out for some reason.
Say it,
Oh, there we go. Sorry.
right?
Talk.
Me.
Yeah, sorry. I muted for a second for some reason. So I'm back.
Yeah. So where did I get to? I'll repeat it then. So basically, so organic have to pay, everything has to be paid for and certified, and everything has to be registered and logged. If you're
Right.
doing poisonous farming in England and in Europe, they get paid to spray chemicals. They
Right.
get, there's a subsidy, and roughly for every 1,000 acres, I might not be right, but this is what a farmer told me once. They get £100,000 for every 1,000 acres they farm.
Wow. But not an organic farmer. This is just a
No,
conventional farmer.
conventional poisonous spraying, death destroying farmers get paid to poison the land. The organic farmers have to pay to look after the land.
Right.
So in England, I've got a supplier. If I use their label, so they package up the product, right? If I use their label, it's organic. If they put my label on the packet, it's no longer organic.
Yeah, because you're not registered. So.
Same company,
Yeah.
same facility, same bag, same labeling, same everything.
See, yeah, I mean the whole thing, even the organic movement, it's still part of the system. It's still in 3D. And because I think like clean, beautiful food is in a higher vibration. I mean, well, it is. It's outside of the system.
But when they first told me that, I was like, what do you mean? You've brought it into your facility, you've packaged it, you've created the label and labeled it for me, and it's no longer organic. Yeah. Well, why not?
Yeah.
Oh, because you haven't paid. But the product's still organic. Yeah. But by putting Phil Grist, the raw builder, on the label, then it no longer becomes organic. Yeah. Huh? Even if I'm not going to bring it home to my little facility and open the bag.
Yeah.
But if I bring that over to my facility and do exactly the same thing with it that I was going to do before, it's still organic.
Yeah.
But because I haven't paid my dues,
yeah,
with a D,
so originally a lot of these systems, like the soil association, all that, they started out really, really good and really high consciousness, and then it just became too big. So it's this thing where we got to bring it back to like local communities and growing food and sharing food, and it's because when things get so big, like they become out of control and everything has to be systematized. And
well, I think as well on another level, it could be really simple where everyone that grows organic gets subsidized and everyone that doesn't get organic has to pay.
Well, that would be a really simple thing, and then it would just smash the whole system.
Yeah, it's like,
then we wouldn't. Yeah,
it's really simple. If anyone that used poison had to register.
Well, you don't even need to subsidize them. You just need to charge anyone using chemicals a fee, a pollution fee, a very high one.
Yeah, right. Because then I remember, actually, Phil, that's just brought back into my mind now, when I was training with you guys out in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
We watched a movie, and the movie was that this woman went shopping with her little child, and when they got to the checkout, there was a checkout that said true value of the food, and she went through with her little trolley, and it came up as $35,000. And of course, bless her cotton, she nearly fell over because she was expecting it to be like half the price, and it was thousands and thousands and thousands more, because that's the true value. And that's why organic is expensive.
True cost, not value. Cost.
True cost.
Yeah.
Because that is what people are paying for with organics, right? If you really look at it, I still think organic on a level's cheap. If you really look at
what you're getting,
what you're getting as a person, but also what the producer's making on it. The producers, the trouble there is the producer has to produce so much food to make it viable.
Right.
So actually, even with organics, if we were to pay the true cost of the food, it would be a heck of a lot more than it is.
Well, yeah. So you said, to get it to us, there's a lot of waste and loss and transport and all that stuff, right? So.
Yeah, and then the supply, not the growers. So you've got the grower, the distributor, and then someone like me or you that then is the supplier of these products. We then have waste.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a margin of 20, 30, 40%, whatever people have, and and out of that comes waste.
Right.
You might accidentally press the wrong button, like I did once. I wanted what did I order? Oh, kiwis. I wanted 1 kilo and pressed 1 box. Do you know what I mean? And I wanted 1 kilo because I think my sister wanted to share a kilo of kiwis of somebody. That's my mistake. That comes out of my pocket.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Of course it's my mistake, but we all make mistakes, right?
Right.
I was lucky that I was able to phone my friends and say, "Hey guys, look, I've got a box of kiwis. Do you want to?"
And that's like real, like there's so much waste. I was just talking to a friend yesterday who wants to get into some sort of food truck to take on all of this waste, like there's these warehouses that bring in all this organic produce, and a lot of it just goes gets composted, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's like damaged, or it just can't get to the people, or it's getting close to, and it's like it can't be used because you can't get into the supermarket or whatever, but it's like it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And there is so much waste in these systems.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So but the shift is like, if everybody had a yard with a garden and were just a few beds, like if everybody had that, think about the shift that would happen, because we would all just be like, well, I got lots of cucumbers, and you got lots of tomatoes, and this guy over here's got an orange tree, and whatever's possible, you know. So, and that would be the ultimate, because we'd all be just growing for each other and sharing. I really believe that's possible. So,
Yeah,
'cause I've seen it. Anybody who has a property, like a piece of land, sometimes they end up like they have too much stuff. Like they're just like, I don't know what to do with all of this. I know my dad's been there with many times. Like he has too many courgettes. Like he's like, what do I do with all of these?
Runner beans is my dad's favorite one.
What do I do with all of these? They just keep growing.
So yeah, you know, Dad, bless him. I said to him, why don't you put them at the front and put a donation, you know, like 50p or something, because it just helps, because he spends so much money a year on seeds and compost and, you know, everything else. It's you know, when you're gardening at the level he's gardening at, you spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
And actually you're then you know, Dad's producing food that's completely organically produced. I mean, we've got a field at the back of us, which is a terrible crime, because they farm it not nicely.
Right.
But he puts 0 pesticides on the garden. He uses all natural products. He buys in rock dust, and I've bought crystals. We've put like 25 kilos of clear quartz crystals in the garden, and
Oh, nice.
and the water butts and so much stuff. So but people are really funny about paying you for growing food. It didn't cost you anything.
Apparently didn't cost you anything.
Yeah, just miraculously turned up in the garden.
Your time, your energy, your love.
You know, we were working out the other day, and Dad's got the capacity now to store 2,000 gallons of water.
Wow.
And you know, in England, through the summer, often you need. I mean, that doesn't actually, in Dad's garden, that doesn't actually last very long. But you know, again, the time, money, effort that's been invested in water storage.
Right.
To be able to, you know, it's and people.
Well, yeah.
That's it's a lot. It's a lot.
Well, we've devalued food, because it's like we get it, like we know, because we go, well, it's organic food, like I get the value of that, but like we've devalued food. Or we like the, you know, it was actually a cartoon that we watched as part of I showed it to all the apprentices. It was called The True Cost of Food. I think it was like a 15-minute little cartoon. But we've devalued this food because of subsidies, and like we're expected it to be cheap through the fast food restaurants and cereals and things that are just like there's no nutritional value. They're really cheap, and then so people expect food to be cheap. They don't spend like us. We spend, you know, more of our money, more of our income on what we buy to eat. You know,
I have no idea what I spend on stuff that goes in my body a week, a month. I think if I was to sit down and add it up, I probably wouldn't do it. So I don't. I just do it, and if, you know, I'm not buying cake and coffee and tea and things like that. It's literally on fruit, nuts, seeds, and although I'm eating very few of those at the moment, but you know, it's just on real proper food and superfoods. I've got back in the last sort of 12 months. I've really got back into superfoods again, and lots of super.
See, I think part of it is like that taps into us knowing that this food is given freely and abundant. Susan tells a story all the time. She was in Florida, and there was a satsuma tree, right, Susan? There was a satsuma tree, and she just like every day she would went, and it was just giving and giving and giving. It was just like abundant. Like she would just sit under the tree and.
It belonged to a farmer who couldn't sell it.
Yeah, so there was a farmer that couldn't sell the produce. I think there was like some disease, something going on. So
I invited kids to go pick them.
Yeah, so she would like go with kids, we would pick them, and it was just kept giving, you know. So I think part of it is like we know that there's that abundance. So it's like this dilemma of the 3D to the 4D and all this stuff. It's like,
yeah, and it's interesting with Susan's story. When I was in Turkey a couple of years back with Kay, and we needed some lemons. I'm like, there's lemons everywhere. How can I we need 2 or 3 lemons a day. That's what we need. How do I get those? And whenever I walked, every day I walked down to the bus stop and there was a lemon tree behind it. And every day there'd be 2 or 3 lemons on the floor. So I pick the lemons up and take them home for the next day to juice them. And every
Right.
day that we were there, I think we were there about 18 days, there was 2 or 3 lemons every day dropped on the floor.
Wow.
Brilliant.
Just right there.
Right there. Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
So we've made a show, Phil. We weren't sure at the beginning. We both felt, you know, I was actually saying earlier about the energies and how they've just taken me out recently, and I woke this morning feeling really giddy and peculiar, and early in the morning. And then when I picked up my sister to take her to stand in the park, she's like, we got there and she's like, Phil, I've been feeling really giddy and weird. And I was like, oh. And then there's someone else going, you know, I haven't felt really good lately. I've been feeling really giddy. And I was like, okay, this is getting even more bizarre. And then, Phil, when I got home from standing apart, my mum said, I was up the garden and I came over all giddy and I had to sit down.
What do you mean by giddy? Like dizzy or?
Dizzy, yeah. Like I've been drinking beer and my head's been spinning.
See, I've been noticing this because I've had my experiences, and I think more and more people are having this like dizziness going on. And what it is, I don't know. I mean, it's a combination of planetary energies and what people are putting into their bodies right now in terms of injections and things, and then, you know, shifts, you know, astrological shifts. And then the EMFs, the 5G, and the more and more cell towers and more Wi-Fi and all that stuff. So it's a combination of things, I think, that's going on.
Some woman was saying today that there's been, was it yesterday or today, there's been a massive amount of light photons hitting the planet.
Oh, so like a solar wind or something? What do they call it? Flare or something, maybe?
She didn't say that. She just said a massive amount of light photons, and some people feel really good on it and some people don't.
Okay.
And it's just like, oh, well, that goes hand in hand with what I've been experiencing today.
Right.
But when I sat in the stone circle, it all went away.
Well, I was going to say, so with the solution when that happens, that's when we got to stop and go, oh, wait a minute, I got to get to nature. I got to go to somewhere sacred. I got to go to a stream, get my feet on the earth. Like that's the solution to that. Like it is. I mean, that's the solution to a lot of things, right? But
yeah, so that was it was really interesting that I came away from there, and within 10 minutes, I was feeling it, and I've been feeling it all. I've been barefoot this afternoon, and I've just been feeling it, and it's really interesting. To sat in a stone circle, and I didn't realize until I came out of the stone circle that it had gone away.
That's cool. Yeah.
Sacred space.
Earth energies.
Yeah, absolutely crucial.
Now, I love your example at the beginning. How was it on the call? We were talking about that. Like you were at the stand in the park. You went to a stand in the park. I think it was before the show, where it was in a kind of an artificial environment, and you didn't feel as good.
Yeah,
it was like concrete and, you know, fake grass and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, it was near tennis courts. So it was lots of people that weren't part of it. There was concrete under our feet. There was concrete buildings all around us. It was an old it was part of an old factory, so it was very industrialized and very concrete. And I thought, well, why would I choose to come to an industrialized concrete site when I can go to a stone circle in nature?
Right.
For me, I don't suppose actually it's much further for me. The stone circle to the, I should think, yeah, actually thinking about it, Phil, it's probably the same distance in time.
Right.
So yeah, so I guess I'm lucky with that from that respect. It doesn't really make a lot of difference to me.
So you were also talking, you wanted to, we went on this whole tangent, but you were going to talk a little bit about dry fasting, right?
I was. So here's the book that I've been reading.
The Phoenix Protocol, Dry Fasting for Rapid Healing and Radical Life Extension, August Dunning. Interesting. Okay.
So he's a NASA medical man working on protocols to rehabilitate astronauts, whether you believe in that or not. And I was I don't know where it is. I'm going to flick through and see if I can find it. But as I'm talking to you, but there was a bit in here about how useful it is with concussion.
Okay.
So I'm just going to see if I can find the chart of what dry fasting is.
Well, it's interesting you say that. Susan was like wanting to fast, so she wanted to do a fast, but she was going to do a fast with juice and stuff. But interestingly, when Susan fasts, she actually doesn't consume that much liquid, so she kind of.
The thing, one of the biggest things I've learned about dry fasting is you don't get hungry.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bizarre. Juice fasting, hungry. I had to drink bucketfuls of juice to not be hungry. Dry fasting, I can see you licking your lips already, Phil.
I'm dry. I'm feeling dry right now.
Yeah. So dry fasting, I don't feel thirsty and I don't feel hungry. It's really bizarre. And it's so much easier than water fasting. So much easier.
Interesting.
So, conditions.
But you don't usually do that long a period. I know there are people who do long periods, but most people it's just a couple of days or something with a dry fast.
Yeah, I mean, all I've done so far, the longest I've done so far is 44 hours.
Right.
I did 42 and a half hours last weekend. But I do 10 to 12 hours of dry every day. Yeah, I did 42 and a half hours and I went to a stand in the park and they were all having a picnic. So I broke my fast with a watermelon. However, what was really interesting for me to experience was not really wanting to break the fast.
Right.
It's like, oh, actually, I've done this before. I can just keep going. So that's so, and what I have to remember is dry fasting is so easy. It really is. I don't get hungry. Obviously, I can't do the same as I would on a normal day. It's just, people go, oh, well, can you function just the same? No. The whole idea is you don't function just the same. The whole idea is you send the energy into the body to start the healing process. It's not about giving you more energy to go out to work or to run or to bike or do anything. It's about actually conserving your energy so the body can heal.
So it's kind of like the animal that gets injured and they just stop everything and they just go curl up and go to sleep and
they do no water, no nothing. They dry fast.
Yeah. So you really want to be slowing down, be in nature, be, curled up, cozy, really not doing too much either, not even really reading, maybe keeping your eyes closed. I've heard about that thing where you close your eyes because the eyes use a lot of energy. So I've heard people do like closed eye periods a long time ago. It was in some raw food book and it was just like, maybe it was Victoria's book where you just close your eyes for as long as possible. Maybe it's like that dark room environment where people do that those dark rooms where they go into a dark cave or a room for like a week and it totally transforms their energy. I really want to do that at some point. So
yeah, Philip Weeks was talking about doing a dark retreat. Where you're basically,
I think that's part of it, yeah, because you shut off the eyes, which use a lot of energy.
And I think from what I can gather, that's 5 days.
Yeah.
It's called a
dark. And from what I've heard, it's pretty intense because you go deep. Like it's you have like upheaval, emotional stuff comes up. It moves a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Because you have to face your demons. You can't get distracted. You can't look at a book or a phone or eat something or even get visually stimulated by something exciting. It's like you have to just be in the dark. Wow. And you have to face everything that's inside. So it's I think is it Mantak Cheer or one of those people actually holds a retreat in Thailand or I think it's Thailand maybe, where he has that retreat center and he does like a dark retreat. I think he does up to 21 days.
Wow. My God. So Phil, I'm just looking through here now. And what was I looking for?
You were looking up concussion, yeah.
So what I found here is brain injury.
Right.
Conditions resolved with dry fasting, brain injury. Though I'm sure when I was reading, I found concussion in here, which is what maybe. But I mean, brain injury, concussion, same thing, right?
Similar, not necessarily the same. There's different, because there's trauma, there's different levels of brain injury. So
Because basically what happens with this is you get all new stem cells, and then the stem cells keep on being produced, but dry fasting is the only way to turn on adult stem cells.
interesting.
It's really, it's
So what is it? Was it saying like how long do you need to do for that to kick in?
24 hours.
24 hours.
Something kicks in. I'd have to. It's got.
'Cause it's interesting that something kicks in. So we've got like when you do a juice fast or a water fast without any protein or fats, we know that the autolysis kicks in, which is the body starts to eat up all the old material.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that dry fasting takes it to a whole different level where it's activating some systems in the body of deep rejuvenation.
So they say, right, 5 days of dry fasting is equivalent to 10 days of water, which is the equivalent of 60 days of juice fasting. So you can achieve the same amount in 5 days of dry as you would on juice fasting. 5 days dry, you would achieve the same. Well, I think it's a greater level anyway than 60 days of juice fasting. Because the thing with 60 days of juice fasting, you don't get the stem cell rejuvenation.
Interesting.
Isn't it?
So I think, if anyone's going to start this, like they probably just start with like extended fasting day to day. So like you do is like you stop eating, pretty early at night and then go as long as you can the next day without eating anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, I started off with just doing 10 hours.
Right. Just as part of a daily cycle, and then you eat the day and you don't.
Yeah. So at night, of course, it's the easiest time to dry. Some people drink water at night, right? So it's just about, one of the things about dry fast, people say, oh, it's easy. It's just about being conscious. So even cleaning your teeth breaks your dry fast, which I didn't know before.
Right.
So when one drop of water enters the mouth, the dry fast it's ineffective. It's really interesting. So you have to be completely dry.
Right.
And then after day 3, the body produces its own water, which is, it's mind-boggling. So the body, when it's breaking down the essential fatty acids, it actually recycles the water, and then things like viruses, bacteria, and mold can't live on that water.
Right.
They can only live on external water. They can't live on internal water.
Because it's totally structured and vibrationally. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like spring water, like fresh spring water, mold, bacteria, viruses don't grow there. But then the older it gets, like it loses that frequency.
The thing is, though, fresh spring water will still feed them. If you're drinking spring water, it will feed the viruses, bacteria, because they need the water. So external water feeds them. Internal self-produced water doesn't feed them.
Think so?
Yeah. The research that the Russian scientists have done over the last 35 years, that's what they show.
Interesting.
They can't, they need water to live.
Right.
So they need water for their cycle. So that's an endogenous water, and then there's, oh man, I can't remember.
Endogenous.
Yeah, there's endogenous, which is outside, and then there's endogenous is inside, exogenous is outside.
Okay.
So the inside water that kills, well, it doesn't kill them. They can't consume it.
Right.
Because it's
kind of like when you don't feed. Yeah, you're not feeding something, and it's a break. Yeah, it's like the fasting. It's like you're no longer feeding that beast, and so that's why fasting has many levels. Fasting, we've talked about, can be just as simple as stopping junk food to all the way down to dry fasting. So
here we go, Phil. Ease into it. Your initial dry fast should begin as, I can't remember the guy's name. He's and it's not remember, got nothing to do with it. I can't pronounce the guy's name. He's Russian, right? So this Russian doctor recommends you begin with a 1-day dry fast, then gradually increase the number of days as your confidence in the method builds until you can complete 7 days. This may take some time, but most people that start dry fasting find that it's surprisingly easy and advance to 7-day dry fast rather rapidly. Dry fasting is a serious undertaking that transitions the body into a state of starvation. It takes commitment to both perform it and to have the mental willpower to complete it. And so on here, Phil, it's a little bit like the apprenticeship at the Tree of Life, where you guys knew week to week exactly what everyone will be going through, and they've got a plan in here. What's going to happen day 1, 2, 3? So day 3, you go from sugar burning to fat burning, and you start to produce your own water on day 3. Then day 5, something else happens. Then day 7 and 8, you go in. Oh, excuse me. You go into the final stages, and he said it can create temperatures, and you can be like a furnace because you're burning up all of the old crap. And he said on then you go for a walk at night, so you can breathe in the moist air through your nose, and you can get the moist air on your body. You get moist. You walk on the wet grass. And also, this guy's saying take cold showers, but make sure nothing gets in your mouth, because you're learning for your body to so your skin starts to open up, so you can absorb water through your skin.
Right.
So actually helps your skin to work.
So you really want to be in it's kind of like you want to be in a clean environment too, because if you're going to open yourself up on that level, clean, not just physically, but just spiritually too. So if you're not going to do this in a concrete jungle in the city, you kind of want to be close to nature, because you're going to pick up more of those energies.
I think, yeah, I agree. However, we've got enough excuses not to get on and do stuff.
Right, I get that, but you're going to do the best you can. But...
because otherwise we won't do anything. So, ultimately, you go somewhere like the Tree of Life Rejuvenation Centre. You go, to that, and if it's possible, you go to the most pristine area you possibly can. However, what I'm going to say is, don't put off your healing because it's not perfect. A 5-day dry fast at home in the middle of a city is so much better than not doing it at all.
Well, I mean, yeah, but do you think, I think maybe somebody would be better off doing a juice fast, like obviously, because if there's beginners here, doing a dry fast is a bit of a leap, it's probably not the best thing.
Just to do a day, we can all do a day.
Yeah, let's start there. Let's not have people. I watched Phil and Phil show, and he said do a 7-day dry fast.
No, definitely not, Phil. Thank you. No, my suggestion is you start 8, 10, 12 hours. That's my suggestion.
Yeah. Because
it's just about the mindset and realizing that you're doing something. And then, but in the beginning, actually, no more than a day. No more than a day.
Right.
If you're feeling brave, do a day. But no more than a day, because this isn't something to be messed around with. It isn't to be played around with. It's something to be taken seriously, because it's a serious healing modality.
Right.
And but yeah, I think we all need to do our best to incorporate it as much as we can. Even if you're doing 8 hours at night, and people will be, oh, that's easy. Of course it's easy. That's why you do it at night time. It doesn't have to be hard.
Right. Yeah.
But actually what you're doing is you're consciously giving your body a break. And actually that's the thing that I found the most interesting thing is when I consciously dry fast and not accidentally dry fast. And this isn't, I need to encourage you to drink, in general, drink your fluids, drink your herb teas, drink your juices, drink your water, eat fruit. I mean, the best way ever, of course, of getting liquid in your body is eating water-rich vegetables, fruits, vegetables, cucumbers, celery, mangoes. Watermelons are my favorite, because you can get a watermelon and you've got like 2 liters of water going in. It's incredible. So juicy fruits, lots of fresh. So for this, we didn't speak last weekend. So last weekend I went to a stand in the park, and I wasn't eating, and people are like, oh, what are you doing, Phil? I said, well, I'm dry fasting. And this lady said, well, aren't you really dehydrated? I said, no, I don't feel it. She said, do you mind if I do a little test on you and do the dehydration test? And I was like, yeah, I'd be really interested. Do you do that? So she just pinched my skin, and my skin went back. And she said, oh, there was 5 of us there, Phil. And by that time, I'd consumed 0 for 42 hours. and I was the most hydrated person there.
Wow.
Interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So everyone was saying, "Oh, but you must be so dehydrated," and "Oh, isn't this terrible?" And they,
Right.
and the lady was like, "Oh, you're actually more hydrated than I am."
So that's just a skin test. This when
Yeah,
it like goes
just,
back. Yeah.
just a skin test. Yeah.
So
So
you just pull it.
like,
You just put on the back of your hand. You see how quickly it goes back. Right.
well, she did it over the knuckle, but yeah, same thing. You just pinch the skin
Right.
up and see how elastic it is. And my skin went back the fastest.
That's funny.
And you know,
Well, and it's not that. Yeah, I mean, it's because you regularly you're consuming like that fresh, whole foods. That lots of watermelon, lots of celery juice, good quality water. That's the majority of your diet. So you're not eating things that dehydrate the body.
no, and like tonight, just before the show, I ate a handful of nuts,
Mm-hmm.
and I've done that about 3 times this week.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I would say at least 90% of my diet is water rich.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to, and I never understood this when someone was telling me years ago about it. I don't have to think about drinking water.
Right.
I get up in the morning, I do a liter of lemon water, or this morning I'm doing orange, lemon, and 50% warm water. So I'm doing that first thing in the morning. So that's my morning hydration.
Right.
And then sometimes I do celery juice. Depends on my day, but I always do a smoothie. The next thing is a water-rich smoothie, right? Full of fruit and water. And then my next thing is a smoothie.
Yeah.
Water rich. Then the next thing in the afternoon, as soon as I get in the door, is a liter, or what's that, 32 ounces of watermelon juice. Well, watermelon, a blended watermelon.
Right.
So it just goes to show that what I'm doing is working. Because one of the things that I've found as well with what I'm doing is water, and this is only my opinion, superficially hydrates. Whereas living water, as in fruit juice or fruit or cucumbers or whatever, give you a deep hydration. So I think one is, I think the living water, and I don't mean structured. I don't mean structured like water. I mean water from fruits and vegetables, which is electric. It's structured. It's phenomenal.
Right.
That without a doubt does cellular hydration.
Yeah.
But I had to get the superficial hydration up with water first. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is some of that with spring water. So when I was in Mount Shasta, both Susan and I went to Mount Shasta, and we were drinking it fresh from the head of the spring, and that water was the most hydrating water ever. It was just phenomenal. But it hadn't sat around. It was fresh there. It hadn't been bottled and shipped and whatever. So there was some definite magical hydration. It was like, what is this? Like, we felt this magic through our whole body, and that's how you feel when you're eating fresh foods too. It's like fresh food straight out of the garden. You like bite into that watermelon out of the garden, or a tomato, or whatever, and it's like, what was that? It's like, it's different. And most people don't get that experience because we're eating all this store-bought stuff. But when we get it fresh, it's just like, wow. Like, we got at the Tree of Life, when we got cucumbers, it was just amazing, straight out of the garden. It was just like, what is this? Like, and we would look at it, it would be like these bubbles on the, you would cut I don't know if you had that. Do you ever have those cucumbers out of the garden? It was like these bubbles of silica. You would touch it, and it was like a silica water plasma. I think it's like this. It was living water coming out of the cucumber, and it was just like it's hard to describe, but it looked like plasma. Like, it's like, what is this? And like a store-bought cucumber doesn't have that. It's different. It's very different.
Yeah, absolutely, Phil. Completely different. Yeah. Oh, on that note, I'm going to have another spray because I can feel the need for it. I'm doing them both at once, Phil. I'm going to do Air Dragon because I love the dragons, right?
Yep, you do.
Ruby Red because I love the tribe. Wow, that's made my eyes water.
Okay, buddy. It's okay.
That's what I needed, Phil.
Yep.
Oh, that's that blissed outness. That is lovely. Well, I don't know about you, Phil, but that feels like a good time to wrap up. What do you think?
It does. That's a perfect show.
Amazing. We went down all different rabbit holes. All we were going to talk about, I was going to talk and you weren't going to say anything. And we were going to talk about dry fasting. So yeah, just again, guys, this one is called the Phoenix Protocol by August Dunning. As you can see, it's not a thick book, but it's got all the information in there, and it's based on the research of Russian dry fasting clinics that have been going for 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, backwards Russia, eh?
Yeah.
Remember, what's on the mainstream, flip it around 180 degrees and you're somewhere near the truth.
Yep.
This has been another fantastic episode of the Phil and Phil Show.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Phil.
And you can check us out, philandphil.com. Make a donation, pay for our website, support us in the work that we do in creating wholeness and love and joy throughout the world.
And evolving out loud, you know, we're definitely doing that. I've sensed it on our shows, and we've had the feedback now that we are actually doing what it says on the tin, which is evolving out loud. That's our practice. This is our practice, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Showing up. Yeah.
Doing the best we can, doing our best to be as authentic as we can. Of course, the ego gets in the way, but hey ho, that's what gets us here, right?
Yep. Great. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. We love you. I don't know who was on because I couldn't see YouTube today, but I'm going to stop the live